Hey guys, I'm back with what might be a regular feature from now on. So if you kind of rewind back to November, I did my first ever book haul on here. It was my November book haul and I had quite a number of books because I was having a really tough month, and I explained on there that like I was using the books to kind of motivate me to go to work and to get out of bed and everything like that. So I skipped December because I didn't actually buy that many, but I've got a whole stack for you for a kind of mixture of December and January. So I thought I'll just go through them again like I did with the ones in November and let you know what I've bought. It's a big range like it was last time, and I'm really excited to share some of them with you and to get reading them. So first up is Wildest Hand by J. Sheridan Le Fanu. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but I gave it a go. So as you can see, I bought this from the charity shop again. That was only £2. So it says, the Wilders and the Brandons share a history of intermarriage, bitter rivalry, villainy and madness. The wedding of Mark Wilder to his rich and beautiful cousin Dorcas Brandon was to inaugurate a harmonious new era at Brandon Hall. But as the ceremony draws near, Mark disappears without trace, leaving Dorcas in shock and the assembled family in a state of severe agitation. And when Mark's letters arrive back at the hall, postmarked from Europe, the sinister figure of Captain Stanley Lake emerges from the wings to claim Dorcas as his own. This was first published in 1864 and was one of Le Fanu's most popular novels, but has been largely neglected until now. It is a nerve-jangling tale of jealousy and murder for fans of the grisly and gripping. So I'm quite excited to see like an old-fashioned thriller in this. And then next up is something completely different. It's a book called My Sister Lives on the Mantelpiece by Annabelle Pitcher. Again, this was a little charity shop buy, and it says, 10-year-old Jamie hasn't cried since it happened. He knows he should have. Jasmine cried, Mum cried, Dad still cries. Roger didn't, but then he is just a cat and he didn't know Rose that well really. Everyone kept saying it would get better with time, but that's just one of those lies that grown-ups tell in awkward situations. 5 years on, it's worse than ever. Dad drinks, Mum's gone, and Jamie's left with questions that he must answer for himself. This is his story, an unflinchingly real yet heartwarming account of a young boy's struggle to make sense of the loss that tore his family apart. So, this one that's probably going to make me cry, but I feel like I need books like that every now and again. So next up is another kind of thriller. This is I Am Deaf by Chris Carter. It was £2 in the charity shop again, and it's something that I wouldn't normally go for, but I really like the blurb. So it says, the perfect predator whose past hides a terrible secret. The most explosive case yet for Robert Hunter. 7 days after being abducted, the body of a 20-year-old woman is found on a green patch of grass by the Los Angeles International Airport. She has been placed in a 5-point human star, and the killer has left a message for the police. Detective Robert Hunter, who leads LAPD's Special Section, Ultra-Violent Unit, is assigned the case. Almost immediately, a second body turns up, and Hunter knows he has to be quick. Surrounded by new challenges as every day passes, Detective Hunter finds himself chasing a monster he only knows as death. So that's going to be quite creepy, but good. Next up is a classic, the first but not only classic of the kind of stack that I've got. So it is Brighton Rock by Graham Greene, and this is something that I've seen like snippets quoted from in loads of kind of critical works about other books when I was studying English Lit at uni, so it's something that I've always kind of thought I should read, so that's basically why I bought it. So it says, a gang war is raging through the dark underworld of Brighton. 17-year-old Pinky, malign and ruthless, has killed a man. Believing he can escape retribution, he is unprepared for the courageous, life-embracing Ida Arnold. Greene's gripping thriller exposes a world of loneliness and fear, of life lived on the dangerous edge of things. So, this is again going to be a bit of a thriller one. Ooh, almost dropped my books. Next up is something that I'm hoping is going to be a whole lot lighter than all the other books I've mentioned so far. So this is another one from Zoella's book club. I picked up quite a few in my last kind of in my November book haul, and this was one that I picked up before Christmas, and it's the only festive one I think in the collection. So it's called The 12 Days of Dash and Lily, and it's by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. I don't know how to pronounce that, so sorry for pronouncing it really wrong. So it says 12 days. We had 12 days. It was going to take more than finding the perfect tree. It was going to take a miracle. Dash and Lily have been dating for nearly a year, but when Lily's beloved grandfather falls ill, the repercussions take their toll on everyone. Even though they are still together, somehow the magic has gone out of their relationship, and it's clear that Lily has fallen out of love with life. Action must be taken. Dash teams up with Lily's brother and a host of their friend, determined to get Lily's groove back in time for Christmas. So I really wish I actually had time to read this before Christmas, but it's gonna, maybe I'll save it for next year, I'm not sure yet. Righty, the next one is something that has quite a large following of fans, and it is A Game of Thrones. I actually didn't know which was the first in the series, and I was stood in the bookshop and I was so thankful for this other girl. I kind of mentioned to my boyfriend, like, I don't know which one is first, I don't know which one to get, and she was like, don't worry, it's this one. And I was like, what a little gem. But yeah, I've watched some of the series, but I've never like properly got into it. But I thought I should give the books a go. So yeah, this is the first one, and I'm a bit scared because it is almost 800 pages long. So it says, in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. As Warden of the North, Lord Eddard Stark counts it a curse when King Robert bestows on him the office of the Hand. His honour weighs him down at court, where a true man does what he will, not what he must, and a dead enemy is a thing of beauty. The old gods have no power in the south. Stark's family is split and there is treachery at court. Worse, a vengeance-mad boy has grown to maturity in exile in the free cities beyond the sea. Heir of the mad Dragon King, deposed by Robert, he claims the Iron Throne. So, that's going to take me a while, but I'm quite excited to give it a go. This one is another classic. You can't really see it because they've put the sticker over her name, but it's one by Virginia Woolf. I've only read like very, very short stories, but it's called Jacob's Room. And so it says, in Jacob's Room, her third novel, Virginia Woolf discovers her own unique voice as a novelist and the impressionistic style of her great later works. Jacob's Room tells the moving story of Jacob Flanders, a young man killed in the First World War, and marks a turning point in the history of the English novel, as well as being a remarkable work in its own right. Jeanette Winterson and Margaret Reynolds are series editors on a new edition of Virginia Woolf fiction that brings together some of the most interesting writers and critics with a new approach to Woolf's work. So that was more about like the book and the editors rather than the actual like contents of the book, but I'm hoping it will kind of turn me towards Virginia Woolf and it will make me want to read more of her works, because she's somebody that's been on my kind of ought to read list for quite a while now. It actually seems like I picked up quite a few classics in the last month or so. So this is Voltaire's Candide, and it is one of his philosophical kind of like ideas put into a short story. So it says, Candide was the most brilliant challenge to the idea endemic in Voltaire's day that all is for the best in the best of all possible worlds. It was the indifferent shrug and callous inertia that this optimism concealed which so angered Voltaire, who found that all for the best approach a patently inadequate response to suffering, to natural disasters, such as the recent earthquakes in Lima and Lisbon, not to mention the questions of illness and man-made war. Moreover, as the rebel whose satiric genius had earned him not only international acclaim, but 2 stays in the Bastille, flogging and exile, Voltaire knew personally what suffering involved. In Candide, he whisks his young hero and friends through a ludicrous variety of tortures, tragedies and reversals of fortune, in the company of Pangloss, a metaphysico-theologico-cosmologist of unflinching optimism. The result is one of the glories of 18th century satire. This is actually, I was looking at the list of 1001 books to read before you die, which seems quite scary, and this was actually on it, so I really want to see kind of like what this philosophical work entails. And now back to the lighter bits. So this is another pick from the Zoella book club. As you can tell, like, it's half price again. So what they did in Waterstones is they've got like one that's half price for a week or a few weeks, and this one is called Lying About Last Summer, and it's by Sue Woolman. So the back says, "It's time. Last summer, Sky's sister died in a tragic accident. Now she's looking for an escape from reality. Her parents think a holiday camp for bereaved teens might help her to move on, to face. At first, camp doesn't seem so bad, but when Sky starts receiving texts from someone claiming to be her dead sister, she fears the past is about to surface. The truth." So, I'm ready for a little like chick flick stroke thriller. And this is another one that's on the 1001 Books to Read Before You Die list, and it's Eat, Pray, Love. It's something that I've heard about a million times, and I just didn't even know what kind of book it was. I didn't know if it was fiction, if it like what it was, and when I saw it in the charity shop I knew I had to pick it up. So it says, Elizabeth is in her 30s, settled in a large house with a husband who wants to start a family, but she doesn't want any of it. A bitter divorce and a rebound fling later, Elizabeth emerges battered, yet determined to find what she's been missing. So she begins her quest. In Rome, she indulges herself and gains nearly 2 stone. In India, she finds enlightenment through scrubbing temple floors. Finally, in Bali, a toothless medicine man reveals a new path to peace, leaving her ready to love again. I'm very, very excited to actually see what all the hype is about this book. So I think this is going to be one of the first ones I read out of the stack. And finally, I know we've finally gotten to the end of the pile. It has been so long, but it's Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee, which is I'm pretty sure it was a posthumous publishing of this, which a family member of Harper Lee found after she died. So the only book that Harper Lee wrote was To Kill a Mockingbird, which is obviously really, really popular. It's an amazing book, and it's on a lot of kind of like English lit courses for people that are at school. So as soon as I heard about this, I was like, oh my god, I need to get it, and then it kind of slipped to the back of my mind and I never got round to picking it up. So when I saw it, I knew I had to get it. So it says, from Harper Lee comes the landmark new novel set 2 decades after her Pulitzer Prize winning masterpiece, To Kill a Mockingbird. And that's all it's got as far as a blurb goes. Oh, no, it's in the front page. Maycomb, Alabama. 26-year-old Jean Louise Finch, Scout, returns home from New York City to visit her aging father, Atticus. Set against the backdrop of the civil rights tensions and political turmoil that were transforming the South, Jean Louise's homecoming turns bittersweet when she learns disturbing truth about her close-knit family, the town, and the people dearest to her. Memories from her childhood flood back, and her values and assumptions are thrown into doubt. Featuring many of the iconic characters from To Kill a Mockingbird, Go Set a Watchman perfectly captures a young woman and a world in painful yet necessary transition out of the illusions of the past, a journey that can be guided only by one's own conscience. So that was basically my December and January book haul. I'm sorry if it was a bit boring because I was like reading from blurbs a lot, but I just wanted to like show you what each book was actually about, and if you're kind of intrigued by the idea of it, then you'll hear the blurb and know more about what it's got inside it. So thank you for watching. Please, please, please let me know if you're enjoying this kind of style of bookish blog post video, and if you want to see more, because if you do, I'm going to try and make them either a monthly or like an every other monthly feature. And please subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and thank you for watching, guys. Bye!